this is Mike again at Blue Water, and today we're going to install a different product called the Elite Series Locker Lid Lights. This is a product that you'll see has a picture of Randy Howell on the lid. Randy and I invented this actually one night during the Elite Series tournament on Lake Guntersville in Alabama, and he just needed more light outside of his campsite to be able to see, to get ready at night, and I think these worked out real well. But when you receive this, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get a tin like this with 2 push button switches, 1 for each locker lid, and your T-tap connectors and male connectors, and then of course your light strips. And that is the way this is going to come to you. So this boat already has Blue Water LEDs installed in the compartments and the lockers, and what we're going to do is we're going to use the power that we grabbed to power those LEDs to actually power our Elite Series locker lid lights, and that power comes from the conventional light fixture in the locker right here, and we're going to show you that real quick. So what we did was we pulled the power out of the conventional fixture here by taking the 4 screws out, pulling it off. And this is what you pull off. You pull the bulb out, and the bulb is going to have 2 wires going to it. One is a ground, which would be black. The other one is a power, which would be blue. And we tapped into those 2 power wires, and we ran nice and neatly our power over the other side using our wire and our split loom to hide it. So as you can see, I've already tapped into our power here using T-tap connectors and tapping into the main leads of the compartment lights that are already in place, and we're going to go ahead and use those leads to power up once we're ready to go. So the proper placement of this light is going to be just above what I call the rib on the locker lid, facing toward the inside of the boat. So that's the surface that we're going to need to clean, and to clean it we're going to use rubbing alcohol and a clean rag, and I'm going to do that real quick, and then I'm going to let it dry. Alright, now our surface is dried and we're ready to mount our strip. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to peel the backing off of it, and unlike our trailer lights, we're going to peel it all the way off. It's a pretty quick install. And just going to make sure that this thing is as straight as it can be, pushing it down right against that rib, putting plenty of pressure on it all the way across. Alright, now that we're ready to wire this, we need to make sure that there's no obstruction when I close the lid to this rod locker between the rib and the edge of the compartment. And so to do that, I want to make sure that all the wires are tight and that my switch is mounted in the proper place. If I put it back here, it's going to keep me from being able to close that lid. So I'm going to mount it underneath. And to do that, I'm going to peel the backing off my 3M adhesive strip, make sure I've got it where I want it. And I'm going to hold pressure on that for a little while, about 10-15 seconds, and make sure that it's adhered. Alright, so we're taking a break right now from that installation, and I want to show you guys a few different connection types so that you're not intimidated by the whole how to connect all this stuff up process. It's really quite simple, and there are a few different methods. I'm going to show you the one that I've already showed you first, and that is the T-tap method. I've shown you these T-tap methods in every video, but I'm going to show you again on just a regular piece of wire, a bare piece of wire. I am going to take that T-tap, and that T-tap has a little piece of metal that crimps over that wire, and you're going to push that wire right into that little piece, and you're going to take a pair of pliers and you're going to squeeze it, and it's crimped. Okay, so now what you have is a T. Okay, and in that T you can plug any wire that you put a male connector on, and so we're going to plug that male connector now into that wire, and now it forms a T. It's a really simple way to plug into power, but now looking at it, it can also be bulky. If you don't have that much space to work with, there are a few other ways you can connect to power. One other way is with a little gel connector. These are made by 3M. and you basically put 3 wires into the bottom of it that you want connected together, and you squeeze. When you squeeze, that little dielectric grease or gel squeezes out, causing that to be a waterproof connection. Again, 3 wires going into that can be bulky, and you may want an even neater connection. And so in that case, we're going to show you even another simple way to connect. So the neatest way to connect to power, in my opinion, is to solder. And in order to do that, you don't need a super expensive soldering iron. You can get this Weller soldering gun at Home Depot for $20 or less. And so we're going to use the cheap one just to show you guys that it's not that tough. And what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we got a little piece of heat shrink over each one of these wires, so that once we do solder, we can cover that so it's not grounding out. And basically what we've done is we've stripped back some wires, and we're going to twist them together so that they're nice and neat, and so that they'll stay there while we solder. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my soldering gun, let it get hot, and ultimately what you want to do is put a little solder on those bare wires before you twist them together. That way when you touch them with the heat, they're going to melt together. Now I'm putting a little layer of solder on there. I'm twisting them over, and I'm doing the same thing on the back. Now that's a secure connection. I'm pushing that heat shrink over that wire. Now I just need to take a heat source like a lighter. Now that connection is safe. I can put my heat shrink over the next one and go to work on my red wire. Do the same thing. Let that get hot. It takes a few seconds. Get some solder there, plenty on the bottom, and you'll see when you push that heat shrink over that connection, it starts to shrink.